Each year in the United States, thousands of major crimes go unsolved. When the case has gone cold and police have nowhere to turn, they seek assistance from the public. This is a program dedicated to solving these cases. This is Crime Stoppers Case Files.
Every year, crimes go unsolved here in Southern California. Loved ones are left waiting. I'm Joy Benedict, and as a news reporter, I've covered countless crimes, countless homicides, and I know that sometimes the victims of these crimes are forgotten almost as quickly as the headlines fade. So tonight, on Crime Stoppers Case Files, we take another look at the crimes still lingering unsolved in our communities. Let's get started. On September 2nd, 2012, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Deputy John Marquez ran the license plates of a car in a parking lot, a routine check that was anything but routine. Moments later, he was in a gun battle and shot. Inside that car was an escaped inmate from the San Bernardino County Jail. He and his wife remain on the run, and police need your help finding them.
In May of 2012, Darnell Washington was arrested for a jewelry store robbery where he and another accomplice went in with guns and took about $400,000 worth of jewels. They fled and were eventually captured. San Bernardino County Sheriff's arrested him, and he was put in a open compound, kind of a jail with an open yard. And on August 27th, Darnell used the inmate phones from the jail yard and called his wife Tania on her cell phone. They had a conversation. They had obviously planned an escape for some time. While on the phone with Darnell, Tania was sitting inside her vehicle in the parking lot, basically as his eyes on the outside looking for a clear fence line, an opportunity, a window of opportunity that he could escape. At the same time, Darnell was watching the inside from the yard while he was on the phone, and when both of them agreed that the fence line was clear on either side, that's when he made his move. He handed the phone to an inmate who was actually cooperating in this escape and was giving Tania basically a play-by-play of what Darnell was doing, that he had reached the fence line, he's over the fence, and now he's over on the other side. And he ran from the phone to the fence and over the first fence and then over the second fence, both having razor wire. She had prepared this escape by purchasing a vehicle that wasn't registered to her, and she also purchased at least one gun. It was a shotgun. She had that with her at the time of the escape, so by the time Darnell cleared the fence line, jumped into the car, now you have an armed escaped convict that was leaving the facility. For about a week, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office, as well as the U.S. Marshals, were searching for Tania and Darnell Washington. During that week, what we do know is that they were living out of their vehicle, the one that was used in the escape. The San Bernardino Sheriffs identified the vehicle that they were in and were able to get the license plate, and they entered that license plate into our system that labeled them armed and dangerous and escaped from a county jail in San Bernardino. A week later, on Sunday, September 2nd, they entered into the city of South El Monte in the LA County area. They pulled into a fast food restaurant parking lot and parked behind the restaurant. Tania decided to go across the street in a convenience store to get money out of the ATM. Darnell was standing next to the passenger side of their escape vehicle when a deputy sheriff from LA County came driving into the parking lot. Darnell saw him and jumped into the back of their car and laid down with a shotgun in the back. The deputy sheriff, who was Deputy John Marquez from the Temple Sheriff Station, saw the vehicle. He ran the plate. It came back armed and dangerous, used in an escape. But Deputy Marquez observed the vehicle and thought it was abandoned. So he got out of the car of his black and white to investigate. And at that time, Darnell came out of the car from the passenger side and fired a shot from the shotgun at Deputy Marquez, missing him at this time. Deputy Marquez returned fire. There was a gunfight. Darnell ran behind some parked cars and then started to run across the street towards the convenience store where Tania was. Deputy Marquez gave chase. Darnell suddenly turned around, basically knelt down on the ground and pointed the shotgun at Deputy Marquez, firing a second time. The second shot actually struck Deputy Marquez, wounding him. At this point, Darnell went into the convenience store to alert his wife, and they ran out of there, and at that point started a series of carjackings at gunpoint. We have information that as Tania and Darnell were planning their escape from the county jail in San Bernardino, that they both agreed that this escape was high risk and that it could end in their death. They both agreed that dying is better than doing prison time, and so they both agreed that as long as they died together, that they both would go through with this until the death.
You know, it's been a long time since we've seen some suspects as out of control as these two appear to be. They have committed a series of violent acts, each one very treacherous, almost deadly, over and over again to facilitate their escape. And we have no doubt they will continue to do that. Unfortunately, I think when this story ends, their lives will probably end because it appears clear they are not going to jail and are going to end this with probably behavior that causes their own death.
Because of that death pact, we're concerned not only for the citizens of this country at this point, but we're very concerned for law enforcement who may come upon this couple inadvertently, not knowing who they are, and we're afraid that Darnell will act like he did in Los Angeles County and shoot it out with the police. On September 2nd, 2012, Darnell Washington and his wife, Tania Washington, were on the run for escaping the county jail in San Bernardino. After their escape, they shot LA County Deputy Sheriff John Marquez and then committed a series of carjackings in order to escape the area. As they ran out of the convenience store together, they pointed a gun at a lady who was getting out of her car in the parking lot and ordered her to give them her keys. She feigned as if she lost her keys or threw her keys, and so they passed her up and ran into the street near the convenience store. Another person was driving his car towards the convenience store, and Darnell pointed the shotgun at him while he was driving and basically trying to order him out of his car. That individual actually accelerated past Darnell in fear, and Darnell fired a shot at the moving vehicle, missing. Darnell and Tania both then ran together into a neighborhood where they confronted a lady who owned a house. She was in the front yard. They ordered her at gunpoint to go back into the house and retrieve her keys to the car that was parked in her driveway. They actually went into the house with her and held her family at gunpoint while this lady retrieved her car keys. Tania and Darnell then escaped in the car that was parked in the driveway and fled the location. The van that they were last seen in was a stolen 96 Plymouth Voyager, light blue, and the license plate is 3PHK484. Since their escape from jail, they've left 9 victims in their wake, anywhere from attempted murder on a deputy sheriff to robbery, carjacking, home invasion robbery, and they're considered armed and dangerous. Darnell Washington is a black male, about 6'1", 160 pounds. He has a tattoo on his left forearm that says, "By any means." Tania Washington is 5'3", about 130 pounds, and she has a similar tattoo on her left forearm that says, "By any means necessary." Both fugitives, Darnell and Tania, are both into modeling. Also, Tania is known for performing at strip clubs to make quick cash, so she might still be frequenting those things to fund their life on the run throughout America.
Well, an attack on a law enforcement officer really is an attack on the community. Every citizen should recognize that the police officers that work in their community are their employees. They're part of their community, they're their neighbors, their friends, and I hope that the community will react in that way, as if an employee of theirs, as a neighbor of theirs was attacked, and their sense of obligation and duty to try to resolve that crime.
Thankfully, Deputy Marquez survived his injuries. But what about the next person unlucky enough to cross their path? This couple has made a death pact. They have vowed that they'd rather die together than go to prison. Police have to get these dangerous criminals off the streets, and they need your help to do it. If you have any information, no matter how small you may think that it is, you are urged to contact Crime Stoppers. You can remain anonymous while protecting your community from these ruthless would-be killers.
After weeks on the run, a real live Bonnie and Clyde are behind bars in Washington State. The SoCal couple is suspected in a string of crimes, including the attempted murder of an LA County deputy. KCAL9's Serene Branson is live in Temple City with a look at the violent crime spree. Serene?
Well, Rick, several LA County homicide detectives are in Seattle tonight interviewing a couple who they say tried to kill an LA County sheriff's deputy who was out of the Temple City station. Then they say the couple went on a weeks-long West Coast crime spree.
Multiple agencies were looking for them. They were wanted, armed and dangerous.
LA County Sheriff's officials are talking about this husband and wife pair, Darnell and Tania Washington. Tonight, they're in a Seattle jail facing a string of serious charges. It all started on August 28th. Washington, with the help of his wife, escaped the Glen Helen Rehabilitation Facility in DeVore, San Bernardino County, where he was in custody for robbery. That weekend, on September 2nd, investigators say the couple shot an LA County Sheriff's deputy in South El Monte, then carjacked a man. A short time later, detectives say they abandoned the stolen vehicle in Southgate and carjacked another vehicle. Authorities believe they made their way up California, where they're wanted in connection with a homicide and car theft in the Bay Area city of Hercules, before finally getting captured in Seattle.
They found them in a stolen vehicle. They went into a short pursuit.
The vehicle was a blue Subaru that belonged to murder victim 55-year-old Susie Coe. Family and friends gathered outside her Bay Area home after she was found stabbed to death. Her car gone.
She was attacked. She was murdered. Inside the house.
The pair also face attempted murder charges back here in LA County for shooting a deputy who approached their car with a shotgun.
He survived, luckily and fortunately, and it's a great day that we've captured these two suspects.
And Seattle detectives say they are in communication with other agencies in Washington, Oregon, and here in California to see if this couple could be connected to other crimes. They remain in a King County jail without bail tonight.
Tania and Darnell Washington will be extradited to Hercules, California to stand trial for murder and then brought back to Southern California to face numerous other charges, including attempted murder. It's October 19th, 2009. A young man is standing in his driveway talking on the phone with his girlfriend. That's when two strangers walked up to him. One of them opens fire, killing 20-year-old Wayman Weston.
911, what is your emergency?
Hi, someone just got shot on 90th Street. Did you guys get the call?
No. Did you see anything?
I didn't see anything, and I can hear the shots because I live on 89th.
Okay, how many shots did you hear?
About 6 shots.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
On October 19th, 2009, at approximately 10 p.m., my partner, Mario Rodriguez, and I were detailed to respond to the 1100 block of West 90th Street in the Lenox area of Los Angeles regarding the death of a male black. Upon our arrival to the scene, we saw the victim laying in the driveway, and there was some ballistic evidence also at the scene. The victim was identified as Wayman Weston, a 20-year-old male who actually lived at the location. So what we learned, talking to witnesses, was Wayman was in the back of the apartment complex with some friends, at which time he went to make a call to what we believe was his girlfriend at the time. So what he did was walked to the front of the location through the driveway, where he proceeded to have a conversation with his girlfriend on the cell phone. During the conversation, his brother, who was the last person to see him alive, looked down the window, asked Wayman if he could come upstairs and help him get some ice cream from the freezer. Wayman told him he'd be up shortly, and the younger brother described gunshots shortly afterwards. While Wayman's in the front of the driveway talking on his cell phone, the two suspects appeared to be coming from an apartment building 2 houses west of where Wayman lived on the south sidewalk. They walked up toward Wayman, who was standing next to a wrought iron fence at the edge of the driveway. And a brief conversation ensues where one of the suspects asked Wayman where he was from, referring to if he was a member of a gang. There's other reports of one of the males telling Wayman he remembered him. At that point, one of the suspects produces a handgun and fires several shots in the direction of Wayman, at which time he immediately falls to the ground. After the shooting occurred, both suspects ran across the street to a waiting car, which was described as a black sedan. They entered it. The car drove backwards, which would be eastbound toward Vermont, on the wrong side of the road and out of view. Wayman was pronounced dead at the scene by paramedics. When we got to the scene, Wayman was lying on his side in front of the gate in the driveway, suffering from multiple gunshots to the upper torso.
The day that it happened, me and him had fun all day long. But what was so different, he carried me up the stairs like if me and him was getting married. And he walked me all the way up the steps. And as he got me there, he put me down. He said, "Mama, I'm going to work in the morning." I said, "Well, what you gonna buy me for Christmas, Wayne?" He said, "Mom, knock it off." And he walked out the door, and I heard the gunshots. And his brother came and said, "Mama, that's my brother outside." And I nearly died. I ran outside and lost my mind.
When Wayman got killed, I was incarcerated, and I had been there for about 10 months. I couldn't talk to no one. I couldn't go to his funeral. I never got a chance to say bye. And that's what hurt me the most. It was like the worst news that you can ever receive from anyone, to tell you that someone that you love, that you grew up with, that you was so close to, that they was gone and that you would never see them again.
When we return, what you can do to help the family of Wayman Weston.
On October 19th, 2009, at approximately 10 p.m., 20-year-old Wayman Weston was shot in front of his house in the 1100 block of West 90th Street in Los Angeles. So according to witnesses, what happened was Wayman was outside using his cell phone when he was approached by two other male blacks. Short conversation ensued, at which time the victim was shot by one of the suspects, which then the suspects ran to a waiting car, which was described as a black sedan that was parked facing west on 90th Street. The neighborhood is South Los Angeles, commonly referred to as the Vermont area, which is relatively gang-infested with several Hispanic and black gangs. Wayman was not a gang member, however, some of his friends were affiliated with gangs. Our suspects are described as two male blacks in their 20s, thin builds, both wearing dark clothing.
This is something that tore a family apart. Just snatching someone's life like that was innocent. He wasn't a gangbanger. He wasn't in the streets. He didn't sell drugs. He never hurted nobody. He never robbed, stole, or killed, or did anything to make no one come and hurt him like that.
My son was going to church, and he went to Heavenly Tabernacle right down the street on 90th Street. He was going to church every Sunday, and he was asking all kind of questions about God, and you know, for people to hurt him the way they hurt him, it hurts me real bad. And to sit up every night where you stay at and recalling this moment every time I walk out my driveway.
I just like some justice for my mom. She hurt more than anybody, her and my father.
There is a $10,000 reward offered for information leading to the arrest and conviction of our suspects.
Thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode of Crime Stoppers Case Files. Remember, we are here every week with more crimes and more families needing answers. These are your neighbors. This is your community, and you can make a difference.